Welcome everybody, hope you're doing well. Welcome back to this week's episode of the weekly hoscale newsletter recaps for the past week of June 2nd, 2025. If you're new to the series, this is where we take a look at a variety of newsletters in the hoscale community, talk about new product announcements and any product updates as well. As always, before we get into it, do me a favor and subscribe if you're new or if you find yourself coming back anyways. Really appreciate it, helps me to make a couple dollars and is completely free, so thank you very much. Like the video if you enjoyed as well, or just want to help out the algorithm, and drop me a comment if you're excited about anything we talk about here today, or just want to chat, and of course if I missed anything so I can try to cover it next week. But we'll go ahead and start off this week's episode with ScaleTrains. A reminder, of course, up in the red of ScaleTrains' pre-order price lock pledge applied to all the items that we'll take a look at today as well, but to help combat that tariff situation when those items do deliver, but we'll just have to wait and see. Reminder of their sale as well, going on right now until June 9th. So here is a quick list of the hoscale items currently on sale. If you've been eyeing up some of these, this is probably a great time to pick up some of them. And here are N-scale and S-scale items also on sale if you're interested. Little fine text, pretty much the sale ends on June 9th, upcoming Monday. First come, first serve, so go ahead and grab them if you can. Couple of new arrivals in N-scale we'll briefly touch on. First up, the new run of AC4400 CWs. You'll note that there's no price increase due to tariffs on these models. Here's a quick list of those that are now in stock. Additionally, some rolling stock, the Thrall 2-hood coil cars, looking pretty sharp. There's a little bit of history about these models and all the road names and paint schemes in N-scale. They do have a quantity buy discount for those as well. Those models, the pre-order expires this upcoming Friday on June 6th. And an N-scale pre-order deadline, the next run of the Trinity Reefers. This run will be coming in hoscale this summer. Here's a quick overview that I haven't seen before of some differences here between the recessed top section in the plug door as well as the, as they call, flush or smooth top section. So it's a pretty neat detail call out. Seems to be also present in the hoscale models as well. Same list there of road names and variations that are available on the hoscale run. And now a quick reminder of the upcoming pre-order deadlines. First up, the Finger Rack Flatcars, new run of these. There are a few hypotypicals as well as the true prototypes there. A lot of TTX and trailer train lettered versions. Estimated delivery is this winter for those models. And next model here with an order deadline of today, June 2nd, the PSC 70-ton ore cars coming out of the Fox Valley Models line. I'm pretty sure these were old MTH tooling that ScaleTrains bought, just released under the Fox Valley Models line that they now own as well. Reminder that the DM&I are only come in 4-packs, and they're the only version to come in a 4-pack. Everything else is an individual car. They did a little time to model section on the SD38-2, specifically the Burlington Northern, if you'd like to check that out through their website. And final pre-order here that is due today on June 2nd when this video is going up, the new run of SD38-2s. All of the road numbers are shown here on screen. I will let them play through here. So just move down so you can see the entire list. But if you're interested in those to try to see some of the detail variations, go ahead and check that out. It's a pretty good way to see them. Now it's moving by a little bit slow, so I can try to speed it up in the edit, or I might just let it sit here and we can chat a little bit. There's a lot of mining railroads here, as you can see, which will work perfectly with the ore cars that we just talked about as well, especially those DM&IR versions. And models coming early June. Not exactly sure what week they'll arrive yet, but model on my list, the AC44C6M. I've got the Sonic bonnet on pre-order, so I'm very excited for that. We have a few other pieces of rolling stock there in hoscale, as well as SD40-2s in N-scale. And they will be in Kansas the weekend of June 28th and 29th, if you'd like to check them out at the National N-scale Convention. But that is all we have here today from ScaleTrains. We'll move on now to Broadway Limited next. And moving on, Broadway Limited has published their Broadway flyer for May 2025. Starting off here, a reminder of their part sale. It will take place in person in Florida at their headquarters on June 7th, so coming up this week. You can pick up a bunch of things on sale, as well as a completely random assortment of parts as well. If you'd like to buy some of those will be shipped. They'll be $30 each for HO or N scale. You take your pick of scale, but you'll get maybe something in working order, maybe not. So if you'd like to pick some of those up, it could be a good option to get some parts you may be needing. Those will be shipped after the in-person event. And last week we also talked about their new announcement of a new run of die-cast SD70 ACEs. So there are a bunch of the sort of standard schemes here that are offered in this run. Reminder, the big thing that really sets these apart is that they are die-cast, so definitely quite a bit of weight to them. Here are some of the paint schemes and road numbers that are going to be offered in this release. We almost have all of the Union Pacific heritage from Broadway Limited now in this die-cast line. These will also come Paragon 4 or DCC ready with the speaker installed, which is a very nice feature to have. And a couple of custom runs here. From Hobby Time, we've got 5 Norfolk Southern Heritage units shown there. And from Train World, we have a few custom ones as well, completely sort of hypotypical, as ScaleTrains might call it. We got a Pennsylvania Railroad as well as an Air Force tribute as well. Here's a reminder of some upcoming order deadlines from Broadway Limited. Would definitely note the Shea is the first one coming up this week on June 5th. We had a few extensions that we talked about in their last newsletter, that being the Power Car and Fox River Theater Car Inspection Car, pushed back to June and July respectively. We talked about those SD45s as well, coming up on June 12th order deadline, as well as those SD70 ACEs. Order deadline for those is June 26th. And here are some quick project updates. A bunch of HO scale models in transit currently, the GP35s as well as the Big Boy, and we'll get to that in just a second as well. We do have some of the heavyweights finally in transit as well, late June on both of those, as well as the B6SBs coming in June. And to round out the month, those HO Baldwin Shark Noses should be here at the end of June. So lots coming your way in June. If you have a bunch of these on order, might be quite a hit to the wallet, but just a heads up that these are on their way. And now to one of the more fun sections, we've got some production samples. This is the dynamo detail on the new Big Boy with PTC that Broadway Limited is offering. They did not make any extras on this model, reminder, because they only offered them to pre-orders and that's all that they made. So this will probably be very hard to find once it does deliver. Got the revised chalk mark on the front, accurate to the 2024 tour, as well as the PTC antenna box on top of the tender. Couple in the news section, Jimmy took a look at the HO Scale Conductors Club Challenger that recently arrived. Saw James Wright also did that. Very good videos on those. As well as the N-Scale SW2s from DIY and Digital. And the Steam channel took a look at that Challenger as well. That is only part of Broadway Limited's Conductors Club. A reminder here that their next locomotive will be these new ES44s. Order deadline of June 30th for those if you're part of that club. It's about $30 a year. You get access to buy some of these more exclusive locomotives that they're only offering at a more discounted price, seen here. Here's some feature of some of the models that they're offering here. Of course, the CPKC livery, the first two of those if you missed out on the ScaleTrains run of those, as well as the breast cancer awareness unit, number 7400 from UP, and Broadway Limited's first CSX heritage units. Moving now to the updated delivery schedule as of this past week. You can see there's a whole bunch coming in June, mostly in HO scale there. And if we move on down, a bunch coming later this year. Pretty good slate through October, through the winter of 2025. And then a few here projected out into 2026. So just a heads up on any of those models. If you'd like to pause, of course, and take a look. This is always updated every time Broadway Limited comes out, so dates might change just a little bit, but that's currently accurate. And now on to some quick Q&A sections here. I'll pick out the ones that I found the most interesting. First up, that first question there, the UP 1616, the Abraham Lincoln Heritage Unit. Doesn't look like they're going to produce that one because they don't have any of the related tooling started for that model. It's completely different from everything else they've offered so far. Not sure yet about what their first HO Scale CB&Q steam engine might be. They say they got a couple on the radar, but nothing for sure yet. And it would be nice to see the Allegheny in HS scale. Doesn't look like that's coming quite yet, but the 21010-2 for Santa Fe is in development, so the good news there. And they're not sure yet what the next Conductors Club locomotive will be after those ES44s. And more interesting here about more die-cast diesel locomotives like Dash 9s, SD40-2s. They're looking into it yet, not exactly sure on which model yet, but it's coming up on their radar. That was definitely one of the features that all the reviews I've seen is definitely what they called out. Being die-cast, that extra pulling power was very helpful. And that they will be looking to make more of the Union Pacific business fleet after the success really of the Kennefic business car, and sounds like the Power Car and Fox River have been pre-ordering exceptionally well, so it should be something that they're looking forward to do as well. But that's all really here from Broadway Limited. Of course, there's other questions here I didn't call out. If you'd like to pause and take a look, feel free. But we'll move on now to Athearn. Next up is Athearn's Dispatcher, their newsletter for the past week. A little bit of an update here, all this text. Basically, no new product announcements because of the tariff situation. They're just writing it out right now, so nothing currently new coming out here. However, we do have some April pre-orders still open. First up, the Trinity covered hoppers. I do actually have that AGPX scheme as well as the Prime for Guy model version of that as well from the first run. Very, very pleased with those actually. Really like the roof walk detail on that. And I'll probably pick up some of those potash models as well. You can see in the sort of light pink orangish right there. Very excited to see some of those. Next model here, the Ford box fans. Also still available for pre-order. Here's some of those paint schemes that we have seen before, of course. And some models now in stock. First up, the PS5277 box cars. 3 road numbers for each of these road names. And additionally, same as the other one, standard Athearn line here on these 42-foot chemical tank cars. Same version here, 3 packs also available for these cars. And in their most recent Train Tuesday, available on their YouTube channel if you missed it, they talked about both of those models and did a quick op session with the new Genesis GB40-2s that recently delivered as well. We do have a couple new product development shots of those Trinity hoppers for this upcoming run. Very neat details on these. They're expecting them in the next few months or so, but of course keep an eye on the channel and I'll keep you up to date for when those do deliver. But that's all we have here from Athearn for this week. We'll move on now to ClassOne Modelworks. And next up from ClassOne Modelworks, we do have a new product arrival, that being a feet water heater with crates load, which is perfect, as we'll see down below, for their GSC flat cars. A little bit of information there for you, as well as how it might look on a flat car. Retail price on these is $60, so go ahead and pick some up if you're interested. Would be great for those flat cars, of course. Looks very natural on that, but as an update, those are now in stock. We'll move on now to Bachmann next. Moving on to Bachmann's newsletter, quick feature on their GP40s that are available here with DCC on board. Not DCC and sound, just DCC on board. A little bit of prototype information here for you. And of course, the road names and paint schemes. I'd say these are a pretty good model to get you started with DCC if you're not looking to make a huge investment in them. But so many companies have done GP40s so far. Athearn's done them forever. Atlas, ScaleTrains, Rapido's coming out with some. Maybe ClassOne Modelworks will have an update about theirs at some point. But here's a list of the features here on these Bachmann models. But going back to that, if you were looking to spend just a little bit more money and grab a model with DCC and sound out of the box, might be worth it. Of course, always up to your budget purposes. A couple new product announcements here. Some prototype shots from their factory. We've got the Newsprint Canadian National 50-foot plug door box car. From what I've seen online, this car isn't quite accurate. Things about the roof walk being there when it shouldn't be. Haven't seen these cars in person myself, so if you do know some of those inaccuracies and want to clarify in the comments, I'd be happy to learn more. But we'll go ahead and move on next to Walthers. And next up here is Walthers' e-update. First update, their biannual reference book will be skipping a year to be able to be published next year during their 95th anniversary, so they have some special plans for that. So that won't be coming out this year. You can still purchase some of the 2024-2025 edition at their website if you're interested in those as well. Model available for pre-order, the Evans 4780 covered hopper we took a look at in their last product announcement video. That is here for pre-order, should be coming in the winter, I believe, for this model. Bunch of different schemes available. Proto line, exceptional detail, of course, that you'd expect with one of those models. And we've seen this one before, of course, one of my favorite paint schemes, the State of Maine version, the Walthers mainline 40-foot ACF welded boxcar. If you'd like to pick up some of those, these are now in stock. And next up, talking about the 85-foot Bud Great Dome cars in the Amtrak livery. These are typically ex-Great Northern View Series cars. These are currently in stock. They do say they are nearly sold out, so if you're interested in grabbing some of those, would definitely recommend grabbing those. They are from Proto. They do come with or without lights, so take your pick on those. And an N-scale Bachmann Scott GV38-2s if you'd like to grab some of those through Walthers. And finally, Atlas recently delivered their HO scale 70-ton Heart ballast cars. If you'd like to grab a bunch of these, lots of different paint schemes available for ordering. I have my eyes on the Rapido ballast cars coming out soon as well. So there's a plethora of options for you to choose from if you're looking to build a ballast train. But that's all here from Walthers. We'll move on next to Bowser. And next up from Bowser, we have some new pre-production samples of their SD40-2Ws in the CN livery. Check out all the different features on these models, tons of antenna arrangement differences on the roof. We'll take a look at the lights in just a second. You can see them off right now. Very unique Canadian National style ditch lights on those. We've got winterization hatches with and without dynamic brakes. Really like the details on this model. This is probably high on my list to become one of my first Bowser locomotives. There's no updated ETA yet on these models. They're still reviewing the samples as of last week and have not yet put them in production. So we'll just wait and see, and I'll keep you updated when we have a new update for the new ETA for these models. And here is a front shot of all the lights on this model. You can see the class lights up there by the number boards. Really cool arrangement on those, as well as the headlights and ditch lights, of course. A little bit more of a close-up on the details there. I think it looks really great, so I'm really excited to see these deliver. But that's all here from Bowser. We'll move on to some new updates from Rapido. And we also have a pre-production sample from Rapido. These are the Hawker vans. I have two of these on pre-order. One of them is the stenciled version of these. One of them is similar to this one here, as you can see. Here's a look at the underbody detail on these cars. Very cool print detail there near the center of the car. Here is the international service there with the yellow sill. But I think these look really nice. Some good details on them. Full lighting package, as you'd expect here from Rapido. Currently still available for pre-order if you'd like to grab them from Rapido or through a dealer. Expected delivery is late summer or this upcoming fall, but very excited to see them nonetheless. And next up, just a couple more shots from the factory. Like I talked about earlier, more GP40s coming out. These are Rapido's version. Here's the Cotton Belt versions currently in the paint booth, as well as the Illinois Central. We've got one of those on order, as well as one of the CN versions, not one of these Stripes versions, one of the ex-Illinois Central versions as well, but very excited for these nonetheless, and just wanted to share those. And final update here from Rapido, some new CAD renders of the Bud CTA cars, the 2600 series, that I'll just share here because I think this is a very exciting model for myself. Was on some of these this weekend, hits pretty close to home. But it's really cool looking around and checking out the details and thinking, is that on Rapido's model? And pretty much all of them were. Of course, not everything will be perfect. They're doing the L tracks as well, if you missed that. Those will come as kits or as an unpowered display section. But taking a look at a bunch of these details, tons of underbody features that they got on these cars. Of course, those third rail pickup shoes there in red on this version and on the duller brown in the more modern scheme of those. But very excited to see these cars. I'm sure these will be quite a hit, just like those Metro cars were. And Rapido's been doing a ton of commuter transit lines recently, so they're definitely the go-to manufacturer for some of those models. Definitely make sure you request a model if you're looking to pick up some kind of transit model in your area. They're probably the most likely to do it, besides maybe Atlas over with New Jersey Transit, but definitely give them a shout if you've got a passion project of your own. But that's all I have in terms of newsletters and updates for this week. Really appreciate you joining. If you did make it this far, consider subscribing. Really appreciate it. Once again, helps me to make a couple dollars and it's completely free, so thank you very much. Like the video if you enjoyed as well. Drop me a comment if you have any questions, want to chat, are excited about any of these. But thanks again for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your week.